fucking freezing here. Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, whichever you want to call it, probably when it goes up, Wednesday morning, midnight here, and absolutely bored. Very bored, and thought, fuck it, why not make a video? Might as well. Ain't got anything better to do, and got some free time on my hands. Why not? So I thought we'd cover, obviously, some of the news that we covered last week on the podcast, and I thought I'd just elaborate on some stuff and just kind of go with go with the flow, see where it takes us. I don't know how long this video will be, but hopefully you guys stick with me till the end. Just want to shout out all the people who still sub to the channel, still ask me questions, when am I coming back, and various different questions on Twitter. So yeah, shout out you guys. I haven't got anywhere. It's just been really busy, and a lot of things going on behind the scenes. So yeah, just trying to juggle everything together at the moment. But enough of me. Let's get cracking and let's talk about David Haye and his pullout against the Tony the Bomber Bellew. So obviously we all know the news. I'm not breaking anything. It's not any news that's come out over the last sort of 20 minutes. It's come out over the last week or two. So we're just kind of going back, covering the tracks on it. And what I do want to talk about is not the fight being off, is potential opponents now for David Haye if he does come back, and the bomber Tony Bellew. There's been a lot of Twitter back and forth with Tyson Fury and Tony Bellew. Is that a fight I'd like to see? Not at the current minute. I wouldn't say Bellew's completely active, because obviously he's been waiting for the David Haye fight for quite a while now. Well, at least to the latter part of the year, and probably his take was not to fight in December. Maybe I thought he might have sort of tried to box in October, November if it was possible, but obviously David Haye with the injury and that sort of stuff made it viable in December. And obviously that's a fight. As I said, they've gone back and forth on Twitter. Whether that's a realistic fight, I don't think it's realistic at this moment in time. I'd like to see Tyson Fury obviously come back slowly in terms of getting his weight down properly, and then come back. Realistically, the spring, I'd say late spring would be something to look at for Tyson. But Bellew obviously wants to get out before the proposed couple of dates against David Haye. And don't blame him, to be honest. I would probably do the same thing. And if I was a professional boxer, which I'm clearly not, and never will be, not skilled enough to do it. But yeah, just I don't really know what to say. Sorry, on Bellew. I mean, there are potential opponents out there for him if we go down a list. I don't have anything written in front of me, but off the top of my head, Joseph Parker, Deontay Wilder. He's obviously not going to fight Anthony Joshua. Those are two opponents. I don't think Wilder wants to, I don't think he needs Bellew, I guess, is the better phrase. Joseph Parker, I don't really know what's going on with him and his camp. Obviously, they're trying to get the unification with AJ. There's then kind of the trail goes a bit thin for Tony Bellew. I think, I don't think he wants a kind of, I wouldn't say step up, but a kind of interim tough top 10, top 15 operator, Jarrell Miller or someone like that. Obviously, it costs a lot of money for, maybe for that to be made, or maybe not a lot, but it costs a bit more money than it would against, a slightly untested, unproven sort of fighter, or a known commodity that's like a journeyman or a high level journeyman or high level British fighter or something like that, British level fighter on the global stage. Sorry. So I don't see Bellew wanting to compromise and want to fight those kind of guys, that level of guys. I think he's only in it for the big fights, and I think Eddie Hearn has also said that in his recent interviews that Tony Bellew only has a few fights left. And when he means a few fights, I think he means elite top level fights. Tony Bellew is 33 or 34 years of age also, so it's not the worst sort of matchmaking or strategy for Tony Bellew in his last sort of in the last legs and the autumn of his career. So yeah, I mean there aren't too many options I'd say too many realistic options that Bellew, his team, and Eddie Hearn want for for Tony Bellew. The Obviously look the money is where it is. It's with a David Haye rematch. Whether or not that fight is going to be made, that's something to talk about at a later date and or a separate argument. Sorry, and yeah, I mean as I said, I just don't see Bellew wanting an interim fight, regardless of what they say. But maybe it'd be in his best interest even just to fight a journeyman, just knock someone over, and just give him some rounds, 3-4 rounds, and just get the ring rust off. Obviously, he got injured, I think, after the David Haye fight also. So it's best to try and shit the cobwebs off, I guess. But we'll see if Bellew gets in the ring. David Haye, obviously, he's not available to get in the ring until he said sometime around March, one date and one date in May. So realistically, if he did come back and he didn't fight Tony Bellew, what are the options? Obviously, none of the big boys. Would he fight a Lucas Brown or a Luis Ortiz or a Dylan White or someone like that? Would he fight a guy that's in the sort of top 15, top 20? Um, that sort of level. Would he fight someone outside the top 20? And not anyone of note, no one really to give him some trouble. Just get some rounds under his belt, get the injury shaken off. So I mean, it's interesting because again, I don't think David's the type of character to kind of be like, oh yeah, just give me a warm up fight and I'll fucking take it. He's gonna be thinking, fuck this. I haven't made the money that I need to make through boxing. I'm still here. I'm gonna get a massive payday of Tony Bellew, win, lose or draw. And obviously he's had an injury. He's come back. He fought gallantly in the last fight, in the first Bellew fight. So go out on his shield, earn some big money, and fuck off into the sunset. That's probably his thinking and his team's thinking. He's obviously promoting Joe Joyce, Willie Hutchinson, Michael Venom Page. So he has Haymaker Ringstar Promotions. I think it's obviously partnership with Richard Schaefer. So outside of boxing, or at least outside of the ring, he's doing well for himself in terms of he's obviously got his own sort of promotional company and he's got some revenue coming in, whether or not it's low or doesn't meet David Haye's needs, but at least there's something coming in, I guess, from his point of view. So I wouldn't be too disappointed just to see him fight Bellew and head off into the sunset. Not me personally, but I wouldn't begrudge the guy. Obviously, he needs to make money, so the money is in the Bellew fight, really. And yeah, I just don't think there's any realistic options for the guys. Obviously, the wage demands and prima donna antics, and put all of that aside. There isn't. Their camps are saying maybe an interim fight, but who are they really going to fight? Is it going to be a journeyman? Is it going to be someone of note? So it'll be underwhelming to say the very least. And I think at the moment there isn't really any potential noteworthy opponents for either guy. So the money is obviously for them to fight, and I think the smart logic for a promotion and just the general public, I think they call for it now, where rightly or wrongly, I guess. But the money is in the David Haye versus Tony Bellew 2 rematch. And yeah, enough said on that. Really, there isn't too much to add on it. Did want to look at the opponents, but again, I've kind of explained that there isn't really a realistic scenario that they're gonna fight top level guys if they don't fight each other. So that's kind of where it's at with that argument. Carl Frampton has been sued or is being sued by Barry McGuigan and co. What do I think of this? I don't know the details, the ins and outs, and I don't wish to comment on it too much. What did I think of Frampton in his fight? Didn't look the best. Looked to have lost a small step, and still can compete at the very highest level. Don't get me wrong. Carl Frampton has made me a fan over the years. Don't get me wrong. I was never, I was never really sold on Carl Frampton, and he's really, turned me into a supporter. And his fan base and everything are very loyal. And yeah, shout out all the people who supported him in the first Leo Santa Cruz fight and the second Leo Santa Cruz fight and throughout his career actually. The support in the States I saw was tremendous, and sometimes it makes you wish that all boxing fans would support fighters like this after tragedies that happen in the sport. But Carl Frampton, it is a bit sad that he's getting sued in terms of the relationship between him and the McGuigans used to be so airtight and very close knit, and it's kind of just disintegrated into despair really for both sides, I guess. And yeah, we'll see where Carl Frampton's career goes from here, I guess. But yeah, not the best of circumstances between the two, and hopefully it gets sorted out for both sides for the better. Um, what else? I mean, there wasn't too much else, uh, bits and pieces, but there isn't too much relevant to talk about this coming week. That's kind of all I wanted to discuss. Maybe let me briefly touch on Anthony Joshua versus Joseph Parker and the debacle, should we call it, of Duco Events press conference. First of all, I would say Joseph Parker probably didn't look like he wanted to be there. I think he probably fucking woke up in the morning and Dave Higgins calls him thinking, yeah, mate, just come to the broom cupboard or something like that, as Eddie Hearn called it, and we'll quickly do a press conference highlighting Joshua's chin or something like that, and calling him out and getting you a fair split. And Joseph Parker's standing there with his belt, so fucking class. That was comedy gold at its finest. But I thought the press conference was a bit willy nilly, and it's there for everyone to see. Everyone can make their own opinion, but yeah, I don't want to insult anyone. Uh, well, I don't really give a fuck, but I already said my piece on the podcast on it. It was just, I just thought it was weird, but in a strange way, it's worked out for them. So fair play to them. They've obviously got Parker's name buzzing around the heavyweight division now. In the last few weeks in the news, so it's been on Sky Sports, been on all the apps and stuff. So he's been in the public forum definitely, and whether or not it was correctly constructed or efficiently constructed is a completely separate argument. They've got Joseph Parker's name out there for better or for worse, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we can see some sort of unification next year, whether it is with Parker, whether it is with Wilder. All as boxing fans is we can demand the fights that we want, and fingers crossed they actually get made, and everyone gets paid what they're worth and whatnot. Obviously, that leads to the purse argument. That's again, I'm not going to cover that, but I've said I don't think Parker deserves 35%, so I'm just going to keep that argument at that. And yeah, there isn't too much to add on it. Again, fingers crossed the fight gets made, but could be free PR by Joseph Parker and his team. But yeah, that's all I've really got to say for this video. I haven't really got too much to add. Anything anyone else wants me to discuss in a separate video, hit me up on Twitter. My Twitter handle is in the description below. Again, shout out to all who have supported. Just keep doing so. I'll be back regularly very soon. And yeah, just leave a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff, and catch you very soon. Peace.